Hey guys, how you doing? I am very, very, very excited. I am going to see Oedipus at the Old Vic in London this weekend, and so looking forward to it. I love ancient Greek retellings in any form, book or play, because every version of a play is really retelling and a new interpretation, especially when it's, in translation from the original text from like the 5th century BC. And I'm just looking forward to seeing how it is and goes. I thought, well, since I'm doing this, I might as well have a look at some of the old myth and have another translation of a text. So it's Sophocles, Theban Blaze. I've read the Oedipus myth again because I've read it before, and I do love it. Like you can it makes sense why Aristotle thought of it as like the perfect play and used it as an example in his lecture notes about tragedy and how tragedy should be formatted in all the different aspects. Which, I mean, it's kind of so it's interesting that we've actually, when we've lost everything from the ancient Greek world, we still have some of Aristotle's lecture notes that survived. It's interesting what survived. It's interesting mix. No, it's really sad how much we've lost and all the epics, and just I think we've lost like 97% of everything, and it's just anyway. We're lucky to have something survived those thousands of years, considering all the societies we don't have. But yes, read Oedipus again, and I do love it, and the relentless search for striving for truth Oedipus goes through, and how he's quite stubborn and digs his heels in, and sort of his own pride causes his own downfall through his own actions, and uncovering the truth and keeping to his word, which I always love reading. So it's good to read that. And I'm thinking there is a retelling by Natalie Haynes, a classicist who does some great books. I thought the Children of Jocasta is the retelling of from the POVs of his wife and his daughter, interlocking the different storylines with that, and the different. I think the storylines is partly the Oedipus Rex, Oedipus the king, Oedipus, whichever version of the title you get for Oedipus from Sophocles, and any other retellings we have of Oedipus, because I think he turns up elsewhere as well, and also Antigone, which I believe is the story of his, which is more related to his kids. Is it really spoilers? It's been around for like 2,000 odd years. But yeah, and his uncle slash brother-in-law, because the whole incest thing with his mother slash wife. In the end, big reveal, dramatic moment. We'll see how that goes. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how the sort of original, since you know how every translator puts in so much of their own interpretation of language, because languages evolve constantly, and English is very different and got, I think, a lot more words in ancient Greek in general, because we just had cherry picking so many other languages coming through. And so it's interesting to have a look at that. I'm looking forward to seeing Jocasta, the Children of Jocasta, to see another version of myth, and then see the play and another interpretation on Saturday. So yeah, good week. Greek mythology retellings is such a trend in publishing right now, both in the independent sphere and in traditional publishing. Though there's been changes to the myth, which is really interesting. Combining two mythical traditions, when Greek myths have constantly been evolving for millennia, and even was evolving at the time, even when they were being written down, and very much all the tragedies are new versions, new tellings of the traditional stories, with also, dance and music involved, even though it's kind of sad we lost all that, because I think that's a big part of it. And we've lost a lot of the tragedies who actually won the competitions, because like some of the big famous Greek plays we've got aren't ones that actually won the Dionysiad when they were actually performed, which is just sad. Children of Jocasta is POV Jocasta from when she finds out she's going to be married to the king, and she's 15, he's 50 plus. So it's her journey through the marriage, through having a child she thinks is dead. Then to all the situations coming in with an Oedipus turning up and solving everything with the Sphinx, having family life with him, having a children, and then there's the plague and the pestilence that then has him saying he's going to figure this out and solve it and help people as he saves them fall from the Sphinx, and everything from there. There are twists on the myth which in some ways remove the more fantastical elements, like the Sphinx isn't an actual Sphinx, it's a gang attacking people on the way to and from. And the pestilence, which it's got further history. They call it the reckoning, and it's like the first prologue is basically some people being sick with it before Jocasta's been born. So this illness. It's like this recurring plague that keeps coming back and affecting the people. And then Ismene they've built her up in the character a lot when she's not so much got a character. I'm not even sure if that's the name. I think the name is one that Natalie Haynes, she said in North chose from a name to do with the area of Thebes, so isn't so much named character in the myths as much as usually, since Antigone's the focus. And it's very much sort of building up her view and her sort of investigating things behind the scenes with her family. And it starts when rather than it's just been the older brother has become king, they were doing alternating. The two brothers, because they're so close together in age, apparently they're alternating who was king for a year each, and there's power struggle there going on, which is quite interesting. But yeah, it's a different twist on myth, and they've moved those fantastical elements, so it's very, in some ways, very different. Without spoilers, is some of the climactic scenes of Jocasta's story have different motivations in some ways, which is it's an interesting read. It's well written, and the motivations of characters are more brought into question in different ways than they are in the original myth. So it's a really interesting take. I love to see what people can do with Greek mythology and how they can inspire to create new stories and new views on things, and how things could sort of be taken to be these myths that we've gotten in some ways. And it's just really interesting to see people play with them, especially as Haynes is a classicist and knows the material well and knows the world, and create space for female voices in myth where then we don't know their names, we know certain aspects of them, we don't always get their motivations and them so much as sort of the main character of the stories. So hey guys, I have seen Oedipus at the Old Vic and it was really great to watch. It was a really good show. Rami Malek was brilliant as Oedipus, did a very strong stage presence as you'd expect. Brilliant, sort of very much an idea of sort of believing in facts and the interpretation of this new script, so much dealing with facts and not wanting to believe in the religious oracles because of what happened because of the oracles in the past of Jocasta and Oedipus, and it sort of played together very well on that. And then it's sort of very much with Creon being like the religious faction and the religious extremism being involved when reacting to this drought that they're experiencing. So that was loved the take, loved the sort of combination of faith and scientifically proven facts, and it's interesting and sort of like giving sort of ambiguity of both sides and the problems with some aspects and all the twists and revelations you'd expect. It does follow the beats of the scenes of the original play, which is nice to be able to see that as I was watching after reading the play recently. And and the performances were all brilliant. The chorus being the dance group I'll look up the name. I'll try not to butcher this. It is the Hofesh Sekner Company of Dancers who play the chorus. Instead of doing choral odes with the songs, they have the dance element in there from the original Dionysia. Oh my god, it's Dionysia. I can't speak today. It's muddle through. But so it's the the dance troupe doing that. They were brilliant dancers. I loved how it added very much an atmosphere. Very good. Very much have the music do the emotion. Give it a character, the rising mass, and the sort of the crowd effect and the sort of violence and in some ways fanaticism in some of the dances of the scenes, which is for the people and how they're reacting to this, which is brilliant. But I felt at times they went slightly long, and they sort of in some ways slow down the action. Sometimes at times they worked very well to sort of build momentum. Sometimes, but other times it felt they went on slightly long, and if there was slightly less dancing, it would have had more momentum the whole as a piece towards its inevitable conclusion. Because in some ways, the play works really well for being like this was hurtling to inevitable conclusion, even though there are time jumps when the quarter scenes are there. It still, I don't know, feels slightly more building in some other interpretations of the end of it, and sort of like it gives a sort of a sense of inevitability towards because Oedipus is hurtling towards needing to find that truth and being very much driven by desire for knowledge and to be able to determination to solve this problem. So that, it was there in the character. It was the interplay between Jocasta and Oedipus and Creon was very interesting. It very sort of messy family dynamic, which is brilliant. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and I always do love I love theatre, and it's a great production to watch, and love it. I'm glad I got to see it. But yeah, I think it added some depth to the experience. Having read some other interpretations of it recently, and a translation of the original play. As much as I love to speak and read ancient Greece, I am terrible at languages, and that's just it's never going to work out. Reading the original ancient Greek, never gonna happen. So the translations are good to read through and to see that and be able to pick out some nuances and some things have been inspired in this new translation adaptation version, because it's not a direct translation, but it's very much true to the spirit of it, as well as pulling out some more slight themes. I'm doing and be able to sort of add some more depth and dynamicism to some of the relationships and some of the sort of latent sort of themes that you could sort of hint at, which you can really bring to the fore with the translation. It's somewhat modernized. It's an interesting sort of halfway mix environment, because there's things like recordings, but also you can tell by the way it is, it's not completely technical. So it's an interesting sort of own world developed by the play, which is great. But yeah, reading Children of Jocasta and the play leading up to this really added to the experience, created a whole vibe of it very much. It's deepened it, because you can sort of explore the different interpretations of the characters, the different interpretations of the story, the general story we have, and which Sophocles himself was playing with when he wrote his play, because that's what all the Greek tragedians, the Athenian tragedians were doing, creating new versions and playing with myth, and it's sort of the different versions of it and how it experienced and sort of the emotions they could build. There was very much part of the experience of going to see it in the Dionysia, which is kind of brilliant. But yeah, I think reading them, what to seeing that, because it's always fun seeing how different authors explore the same story, and when you know the beats, you can sort of give them a fresh view, a fresh undertaking, and it's just brilliant to watch or read, since this is very much playing with both myths and some of the ancient sources, and the one of the most famous versions of the myth is the play. So it is great to have it all together and just see how it's relevant and how it still speaks to people from today, with the different stories, with the different themes, and that Greek myth and tragedy very much encompass human emotion and basically an understanding and exploration of people and how they react to extreme situations, because for the catharsis that the audience will experience at the end of the tragedy, and these extreme emotions to sort of understand humanity and in some ways yourself, as all stories do. And you can see why it does the test of time, and we keep reinventing it now, which is brilliant. But thank you for watching, and let me know what you think of Oedipus and the Greek tragedy, and the wealth of stories we have available for all these different interpretations, both on stage and in books and in other mediums, as the characters go on having life well after the ancient plays. But yeah, thanks for watching, and bye-bye!